So I'm back from my sunny vacation to cooler New England in my car. Welcome back. And I wanted to make a car video today for you, just talking about something that Marvin mentioned in his latest video regarding everyone is you pushed out and, manifesting a specific person or special person or person in your life, manifesting an SP. Because the point that Marvin hit upon, and I'll put a link above to Marvin's video from the other day, the point that Marvin hit upon is nuanced, as we always like to say when we're coaching people. And at the same time, the larger point's quite obvious, okay? So the larger point, the obvious point, at least obvious to Marvin and I think obvious to most people when they get serious about applying some of these great manifesting law of assumption, law of attraction type of ideas. The larger point's quite obvious to people who are serious about this stuff. But what is misleading is that on YouTube and Reddit and other places where people talk about this stuff, the popular forums to hear about these ideas, it's not so obvious. What Marvin was saying, what I'm saying, and what I hope most of you already agree with, is this simplistic interpretation of Neville, overly simplistic interpretation of Neville, of like, oh, my thoughts, my imagination creates this mirror reality, like right away. So, like, if there's a person out there, it's because of my thoughts, right? And like everyone's me pushed out. So any person that comes into my life is a direct result of my thinking, my imagination, right? Now you might be like, well, I agree with that. And yeah, it sounds nice in theory. And there's some credibility that can be given to it. But what I hope is pretty obvious to you is when Neville spoke about everyone as you pushed out, he meant it in a much deeper, nuanced way. And the idea that like, oh, I like my thought, what I'm thinking and imagining and aware of is creating this person out there is so simplistic and so fucking crazy of an interpretation and so dumb most of the time that you shouldn't even take it remotely seriously as a credible line of thinking. And the fact that YouTube is littered but with this kind of advice just shows how stupid people are when it comes to these ideas. Sometimes people ask me like, oh, Tim, why are you so negative about what people are saying on here? Because the shit they're saying is fucking stupid. I was reading Joel Goldsmith the other day, and he was talking about how there's a veil always put over a lot of these cool spiritual concepts, and it's like the Wizard of Oz, you take back the veil and it's just some whole croaker pulling the strings a lot of the time. And that's not the truth. That brilliant teachers like Neville and all these other wonderful law of assumption type of teachers, it's not the truth of what they were getting at. It was a lot more nuanced and deeper than just like, oh, I'm thinking this thing. This is my partner pushed out. And, Goldsmith the other day was saying like, the veil is put there. And in my opinion, the veil is put there inadvertently most of the time, right? The veil's put there, Goldsmith was saying, like either for basically evil, malicious purposes. Like, the church does not want you to know these things, right? Or like, we don't want people to know these things because then we won't have so much power. There's that. But I think the much more common case, and what Goldsmith was pointing out, that veil is put there. This overly simplistic interpretation of concepts like everyone is you pushed out is put there because of stupidity. People are just fucking stupid. A lot of the work that Marvin and I do with people when we initially begin with them, besides grounding them so they feel just more present and better, which is a huge, huge part in the process. A lot of the work we initially do with a client when we get a new client working with SP issues And if you're interested in working with us, the link is in the description. You can find out more about working with us. You can find out more about working with me. You can find out more about my books, blah, blah, blah. One of the main things we do is simply convey to people who have been kind of lost in this law of assumption online space for a while, whether it's 3 months, a year, or longer. Most of the people in this space are giving a stupid interpretation of these ideas. It wouldn't warrant any type of conversation if people weren't taking it seriously, these stupid ideas, and getting awful results. So a lot of what Marvin and I initially do is say, just stop listening to this bullshit advice. Start feeling better, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to actually manifest that great romantic relationship you want. Just by doing that, by forgetting all of this quote-unquote SP, Neville Goddard advice, because it's stupid. 90% plus of it is stupid. The reason that I didn't do much SP coaching up until I, teamed up with Marvin is because I don't like dealing with stupid shit. And I don't feel like most of you watching this video, if you made it this far, want to deal with stupid shit. A lot of people in this community want to deal with stupid shit. They want to follow the groupthink, follow da-da-da-da-da-da. I want you to get your SP. And that means recognizing that you're the real SP and changing your self-concept for good. That means we cannot be stupid about this stuff most of the time. We have to be somewhat intelligent. And the point Marvin was making in his video the other day is everyone is you pushed out. The way it's interpreted in this community is like, oh, all right, you're dating a piece of shit, basically, right? Now, obviously, no one's really a piece of shit, right? Everybody has their virtues, etc. But you're dating somebody, for instance, who clearly has interpersonal relationship issues, And yet, if you're following this stupid, everyone is you pushed out advice that's all over the place on YouTube and Reddit, then you're saying, well, that's my fault. I created this stupid person, or this piece of shit partner, basically, and I'll just change that. And what Marv was saying is, while there's some truth maybe to some of that, in real life, if you actually want to fucking manifest your SP, your real SP, the issue is that person is a piece of shit. It's got nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. You're not going to be able to change them. You are not going to be able to change them in any significant way. You're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to do it. Yes, you can robotically affirm or do SATs and have them to change momentarily or for a brief period of time. But if that person has a lot of issues, they have to work on those issues themselves. You cannot do that for them. And everyone is you pushed out. Marv mentioned this. We always talk about this when we're in a group session or what have you. What that really means most of the time is everyone is you pushed out if you've attracted like a piece of shit partner, let's say. And again, no one's truly a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. But you know what I mean. There's a lot of people that are not relationship worthy, that you shouldn't even consider being in a relationship with. And if you've attracted one of those people into your life, in a way that is you pushed out, because you allowed that to happen in some way energetically. Basically, your standards, your self-esteem, or your self-concept, one of those things or all of those things was probably a little bit lower than it should have been, and you allowed this person in. And of course, it's fine to allow that person in. You don't know them at first, right? But what we often see when we work with people and in the community at large is people allow these piece of shit partners in. And then instead of when they start to see, oh, this person is a piece of shit, instead of being like, all right, I got to kick this person to the curb or say this isn't going to work, best wishes to you, sending you my love, but we can't be in a relationship anymore. Instead of doing that, instead of doing the healthy, sane thing, they say, oh, I'm going to keep this person. I'm going to keep on putting up with this shit. And I'm going to buy into this simplistic, pissed down version of everyone is you pushed out and blame myself for this person not changing. Oh, this person is treating me like shit, verbally abusing me, physically abusing me, sexually abusing me. This is my fault. Everyone is you pushed out. That's the kind of shit we hear in the community. That's insane. That is fucking crazy. That is not everyone as you pushed out. That is having awful boundaries and an awful self-concept and self-esteem issues. And that's pushed out in the kind of piece of shit partner that you definitely do not deserve to be with. You deserve someone better than that. So that's what we got to look at, is that deep underlying stuff that's like, man, why did I allow this person not only into my life, but why did I stay with them? When they were clearly, there were all these red flags. Why did I stay with them? And then you hear, well, oh, love knows no boundaries. Like, love is what love does. And Papa Bear Tim says, grow the fuck up. Grow the fuck up. You got to look at yourself honestly. And if you really love yourself, you do not put up with certain behavior that a lot of people put up with in this community in the name of quote unquote love. That is not real love, because real love involves self-love as well as loving the other person. And you are not giving yourself enough self-love if you are dating or married to a piece of shit and stay with them. Sorry. This is real SP coaching. This is what I do. This is what Marvin does. This is what the community needs to hear and usually doesn't want to hear. They want to be stupid. Again, if you've made it this far, you're not stupid. You deserve better. And honestly, the people who are hearing this stupid advice, who think they don't want to hear it, they deserve better too. So let's just get our heads out of the sand, our hands out of the sand, and look clearly at situations more with a loving eye. And not only will we treat other people more lovingly, we'll treat ourselves more lovingly and realize that we deserve better than dating pieces of shit and being with pieces of shit. We deserve to be in a relationship with somebody who is healthy, loving, and highly compatible with us. And of course, that all starts from doing the work with it. So if you have any questions or would like help, you know where to reach me. Links are in the description. Talk soon.